those answered.
Yeah, they can type it in the chat.
Okay. All right,
So
Tammy.
ready. Right. Thank you for joining us. I apologize for the delay. We are having some technology issues, so there is some feedback. We're going to try to go ahead and go through the presentation. We will have a question and answer session towards the end where you're able to type in your questions within the chat. But we're going to do our best to go through. We're lucky and honored to have Tamara Lewis, Assistant Director of Counseling and Outreach, Office of Financial Aid. Very long title, means a lot of responsibilities, but also a lot of knowledge. So we have Tamara Lewis today with us to kind of go through and answer any questions and give an overview of financial aid. Again, apologize for the technology issues, and we will have questions and answers towards the end.
All right. Okay, we're ready to get started on your mark. Get set. Next screen. All right. Again, thank you guys for coming. We apologize for the technical, but I'm going to zoom through this just like we're going to Zoom today and open it up so that we have any questions that you might have. I'm with you all the way to the end of this. What we're going to talk about is what is FAFSA, obtaining your FSA ID number, the application. Next screen. Great. Now, one of the things that you want to, when you're getting ready to do the FAFSA for 2020-21, so I can't see who's there, but these are for they're seniors this year, coming in as seniors, and they're going to be going to college in the fall of 2021. How exciting is that? So what we're going to do is we're going to break this down into 4 areas. If you can see me, 4 areas. We're going to talk about federal aid, state aid, institutional aid, and scholarships. So the very first area that I want you guys to take your notepads out and look at the cream of the crop, the biggest amount of money. I'm very animated, so you can see me through the screen. Is the money from the Department of Education. The FAFSA is an acronym. It stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Well, I'm going to drop the anchor on the F for free. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Second bullet. Now you want to know, okay, where do I get this free money from, Ms. Tammy? Second bullet, there's the address. www.fafsa.ed.gov. Now we're going to stop there for a second. There is a www.fafsa.com. You want to make sure you stay away from the .com. That's where you're going to get. They're going to want a fee after you put all your information in the FAFSA. They're going to want a fee. Is it illegal? Nope. You don't have to do a fee. You just go ahead, complete the FAFSA, and we'll talk about how to set the tone so that you can be successful in completing the FAFSA application. For those of you that are seniors, this is your year. This is it. This is your year. You're completing the FAFSA application for 2020-21. Again, 2021, because the other year is still on there, 2021. No, 21, 19, 20, 2021. I'm so confused. Okay. You're going to do 2021. I'm sorry. You're going to do 2120 It opened up October 1st, 2020. Let me go back again. You're going to do the FAFSA for 2021, 2021. It opened up October 1st, 2020. What does that mean? That means that they just made it available for you to start to do the application process.
Tamara, so we're getting some comments on the chat that they're unable to hear because it's breaking up. So I'm going to, if you're okay, if you don't mind trying to go through the slides. I'm no financial aid expert.
No, not at all.
But I've had the pleasure of sitting in and listening to Tamara for 4 or 5 years, and I still learn each time I come. So excuse me if there's something that I may miss. Hopefully she'll catch up and get it in the Q&A at the end of the session. But just so that for the sound quality and everything to kind of go through the PowerPoint, and then please, if there's something that I'm saying that is completely off or wrong, jump in and correct me. Again, I'm no financial aid expert, but I'm hearing you for the last 6 years, definitely learned a lot with that. So we're at the part where there's a federal student aid user ID and password. The website is there, www.fsa.ed.gov. That's where families will go in and they will be able to log in and get a federal student aid user ID and password. Each student or each person will have to have their own ID and password. This is used to file the FAFSA, make corrections, and access other federal aid websites. So it's basically an electronic signature that allows you to access the FAFSA and make any changes that you may need with that. And that's going to be needed by everyone who is filling that out, student as well as parent. And tell me, you can just give me a thumbs up if that information is up to date and right. All right. There's 7 steps to the FAFSA: student demographics, your student financial aid information, your dependency status, parent information, student household, school selection, as well as signatures. And we're going to go through those 7 steps now. The first is student demographics. So this is the general information about your student: name, address, social security number, date of birth, degree that they're pursuing. What's important is that their name must match their legal name on their social security card. So no nicknames. If you're John or Johnny, guy has to match what's on your social security card. If you are male, 18 or over, you must apply for the selective service. And then email address, please provide email address. We talked about this with all your students on all college application and material, providing an appropriate name email address and not your Claremont Unified email address, because this is something you're going to be using beyond that time, the June time and throughout. Thumbs up? We're good, Tamara? All right. Second part of it is going to be the financial aid, their financial information. This is going to be a parent's income, asset, untaxed income, additional financial information. Review all questions. Some do not pertain to only the federal tax liars. If you're married, provide your spouse's information as well. And this is the student's financial aids, the financial information here. Most of our students, they're not going to be in that married status, so they're not going to have that spouse information there. Dependency questions. So this is going to be determine whether a student gets to file as a dependent or not. If they mark yes, I believe, to any of these questions, that qualifies them to be able to file as a dependent. If they're born before January 1st, 97. If they're married, seeking a master's or a doctorate degree. Oh, I get the fist, I get to hold up there.
1998.
1998, all right. So a year younger, 1998. If they have children or dependents of their own, serving in the U.S. military or a veteran, their parents are deceased since they turned 13 years old, emancipated minor, ward of the court, the legal guardianship, they're homeless or at risk of being homeless. And I guess that at risk of being homeless, you can file that, and the financial aid office can help you to determine whether that's valid, that they're homeless or at risk of being homeless. As Tamara always says, there's a lot of parents out there, and I always crack up when I hear her say this, that there are parents out there that say that, well, I can make that happen. The step 4 is going to be the parent section. So again, parents need to be involved in this, and this is where parents are starting to get involved with, where they're going to need your information. So it's the biological or adoptive or step parent. That is always the big question that I hear, and the questions that I hear posed for Tamara when she's doing this. What information do they need to use? So if you do have those questions towards the end, you can post them in the chat, and she'll be able to help you. The expert will be able to help you answer those questions on how or whose information you need to use. Parents' marital status, where they're single, married, divorced, or widowed, unmarried, and both parents living together. If a parent does not have a social security number, report it as 00000s within that area there. And then people in the parent's household. So again, I think the people in the parent's household, again, is something that throws everyone off with that as well. Continue with the financial information of the parent, your completed IRS tax return information. Included is adjusted gross income from 2018 and earnings from work. All right, we're gonna hit a stop there with that date. 2019. So the income from 2019. Additional financial information, untaxed income, and to indicate where the parent is dislocated worker, not eligible if the parent left or quit or left voluntarily. And I have a feeling with this year and the pandemic and everything's going, there's going to be a lot of communication that parents and students might need to have with the financial aid office of the schools that they plan to apply to. Continue with the parent financial information of the value, asset and value as of the date the FAFSA is completed. Any cash, savings and checking accounts, investment worth, business net worth, all of this is going to be taken into account when you're completing the FAFSA and looking for the aid. All right, student household. This is for independent students only. List of members in your household, not your parents. That would include yourself, your spouse, and your children or other dependents, if that's applicable. You have the option to list up to 10 schools, colleges that will receive your FAFSA. University of Laverne, there's a sample there with their school code. Each school will have a 6-digit code. You can search that feature on the FAFSA there. Also, you're going to indicate your housing plans, whether you're planning to live on campus with a parent or off campus as well. And Tamara, correct me, you can put up that stop sign as well. If a student is planning to attend or planning to apply to more than 10 colleges or universities, once the FAFSA is downloaded and accepted by the one college, they can go and add another college in that place. Is that correct? Okay. All right. I think we have a delay there, but I did get the thumbs up because we do have some students who might be applying to more than 10 colleges or universities. Step 7 is going to be to sign and submit. This is required a signature from the student and one parent. Ways to submit, again, electronically is probably the best way, and that is what we talked about earlier with that FAFSA ID number. You can print the signature page and sign as well with the paper FAFSA if you do not have that electronic signature and ID. You'll receive a confirmation, a student aid report that you will receive that you will need to review. This will be the summary of your FAFSA. Don't get it mixed up with a financial aid award. This is a summary of what you would receive if you were attending that college. The financial aid office may request additional documents from you or your parents to determine your eligibility, and you will receive an award notification from each school. The types of financial aid, there's gift aids, which are grant scholarships. This is aid that does not need to be paid back. There's also the option of work study. So this is part-time employment on the campus where you get paid to work. And there's federal student loans as well, low interest loans, but again, with the loans, they must be paid back. There's the Pell Grant, Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, Federal Work Study, Federal Direct Student Loans. These are subsidized as well as unsubsidized. And there's the Federal Direct Parent Loans as well for undergrad students. So I know this is a lot of information, a lot thrown to you. For some of you who this might be your first student or your first time going through this, it's going to look foreign to you. They do have a FAFSA worksheet on the website as well. But if you have questions, I encourage you, this is probably why Ms. Lewis's phone rings off the hook and keeps her extremely busy, because we encourage you to contact the financial aid office at the schools that you are applying to so that you can get the most updated information and you're doing this correctly if you do have any questions with that. There are state aid as well. If you're a California resident, your student is planning to attend school in California, they can qualify for the Cal Grant A, B, or C. There's Chafee grants, Board of Governors fee waiver, BOG grants, educational opportunity programs, California Dream Act for AB 540 students, as well as the middle class scholarship at state schools at the Cal States and the UCs as well. And that is all going to be, that middle class can be determined by the family income. Cal Grant, the deadline is March 2nd, 2020. Must meet GPA and income asset ceilings. We got a stop sign there. All right, March 2021. Flying through this, not even looking at dates, but 2021. Claremont High School submits each student's GPA for the Cal Grant. So students do not have to worry about that. That is submitted for the high school for you. But it does require everyone to fill out the FAFSA in order to be eligible for the Cal Grant. All right, other aids, vocational rehab, fee for PAM programs, as athletic grant aids, other scholarships, veteran benefits as well. There is institutional aid. So these are grants and monies that might be available for the specific school or institution that you might be applying to. Scholarships, there's private aid, there's loans. So each school may differ the types of aids based on the institution and resources. So again, check with each school that you're applying to gather the most updated and additional information that is out there. We have the California Dream Act. This allows students who meet this criteria to apply for financial aid as well. There's private scholarships, there's state university grant, as well as Cal Grants and the OP grant. Applicants include AB 540 students, undocumented students, and DACA deferred action or childhood arrival students as well. The Dream Act applications on October 1st. Let's get this right, 2020. Are we right on that date? All right. There is the site where to go to for that. To be eligible to attend a California school for 3 or more years and graduate from a California high school or equivalent. Attend a California college or university and file the affidavit with the college or university of interest. And then submit the GPA verification as well. All right, so that definitely didn't do the justice that you would have gotten from Ms. Lewis, but we do have her here because I think I definitely might have opened up the door for lots of questions for her to answer.
All right, so the first couple of questions, some of them were about dates, but I still want to go back through those just to make sure that we are all on the same page. A lot of them Mr. Anderson did address, but I also just want to make sure that they are all getting addressed. So for the clarification, the year we're applying for is 21-22, and the application opened on October 1st, 2020. All right, we are getting a thumbs up that is correct. And then the next question is the adjusted gross income for 2019, correct? That's what, okay. Yes, we are getting another thumbs up. Sorry, my eyes are darting off because I'm reading it on a different screen. All right, so another question. Should community college be listed on the FAFSA? Do we include our community colleges and our list of colleges? Yes, you do. Make sure you are including all colleges that you're applying to, four-year colleges or community colleges. All right, the next one is, when does the SAR go out? Ms. Lewis, you are on mute right now. Just 1 second, guys. Perfect.
Okay. The student aid report usually goes out about 2 to 3 days, maybe 4 after you submit your FAFSA and they've processed it.
Okay, so that was, it goes out 2 to 4 days after you submit your FAFSA and it is processed. Perfect. All right. And then, does only the parent complete, or does the student also have to do something?
Actually, the student should be sitting down completing the FAFSA application and adding parental information. However, as parents, we usually are the ones that are sitting down and the student is sitting next to us. So technically, all the information is about the student and then adding the parental information on there. Student has to sign it with that FSA and parent has to have an FSA number.
All right, so both have to have the FSA ID complete, and just, I'm kind of summarizing what you're saying to make sure everybody's getting it. And then it's really important that also the student should be doing it, but she knows that parents, we know that you want to be involved in it as well. So doing it together is probably best. All right, the next one, if you complete the FAFSA for 21-22, but defer admission for 1 year, do you have to complete a new one for 22-23? I think that might be 20, yeah, for 22-23.
You have to complete a FAFSA every year. October 1 is the opening of those FAFSA applications every year.
All right. Another question was, are there personal finance moves or advice that folks should consider before applying for financial aid? So increase your savings, pay off debt, etc.
Kind of hard to say because you're putting information regarding your income and assets from the year before. So they're doing the year before because it's more accurate. You've already filed them. You don't have to make any corrections. The best I can say is whatever's going on in your life at the time you are sitting down and completing that FAFSA application, it is what needs to be on the app. If you hit the lottery on that day, you need to put the information on there. If you don't have the $2.50 in your savings, you need to put that information on there.
All right. The next is, can you review what is exempt? For example, retirement accounts, primary residence, life insurance, etc.
I don't understand the question.
So is there anything, I think they're asking if anything is exempt from reporting. So do they have to put any like life insurance that they have, or do they have to list how much money is in retirement accounts?
No. And then on the application, it'll have on there what they want, and then it'll have a little explanation. There's also something that's called skip logic. If they ask you, do you have assets over $2 million? And you say no, then it's going to skip a whole bunch of questions that you don't have to answer. So you're basically putting adjusted gross income, how much you paid in taxes, what is parent one's income, what is parents two income, what did you file exempt? That's pretty much, do you have any other non-taxable income, those kind of things. Let me say one other thing. What's really important, if you guys can understand me, the FAFSA has what's called a data retrieval, where when you get to the tax information, if you meet all the criteria, you can just have the Department of Ed will extract the information from your taxes and fill it in for you. So you don't have to worry so much about the taxes and making sure you're putting the right information. They'll just do it. There's certain things that have to be done in order to do that, but I would highly recommend that it'll come in handy if you're selected to be verified. If the Department of Ed says, okay, I need to verify your information. If you don't do it, you have to provide us with tax return paper. If you do the data retrieval, it's already on there, so they don't ask you for tax return.
All right, awesome. The next question is, will you upload the recording to live stream? I believe our plan is to upload the financial aid presentation to live stream. All right, the next, is there a benefit to completing the FAFSA earlier? Like first come, first serve, or is it strictly based on financial information?
We don't have a benefit at Laverne. I think the sooner you can do it, the better, because you kind of want to know, okay, did I get admitted? And now the financial aid, I would ask each individual institution, the financial aid office, is there a benefit? I have students that it's open October 1 and they're on October 1 completing the FAFSA. We don't even upload it until probably November or something like that. So if you can do it and you have all the information, go for it. But and that way you can get it out the way. And then if there's anything that's that we need to ask questions about, we can get those things resolved early.
Awesome. So just to make sure everybody got all of that, basically what Ms. Lewis said is the sooner you can get this in, the better. And if you want to know if there's a benefit to getting it in sooner for a specific institution, contact that institution.
Yes.
Reach out to that
Yes,
school.
Especially, yes.
Okay. So
Yes, especially when it comes to institutional money, the money that the school is offering. You might want to check with them because they may have deadlines. They may have applications you need to complete. So you definitely want to find out what kind of institutional money that they're offering.
All right, so that was making sure. Another good reason to reach out to the institutions you're applying to is because of institutional aid. So the money that that specific school or institution is going to offer you, they might have different dates, they might have different deadlines. So make sure that you're in contact with your specific school's financial aid offices. The more communication, the better, is kind of what we're telling students, of making sure, especially right now, just ask the questions. And normally reaching out to that school is going to be the easiest thing. There's so many schools. I've been telling my students, I can't have it all memorized. So reach out to your specific schools. All right, so the next question was, if my parents already have an ID number because my brother is in college, can they use the same one? So you can use, parents can use the same FSA ID number. That's perfectly fine. You as the student also need an FSA ID number. This was years ago, but make sure if you know you had a sibling that's 10 years older, it's not what the PIN used to be anymore. That went out about 6 or 7 years ago. Make sure it's the FSA ID still. So just make sure that you still have that. A little farther down, there was a question of why do both students and parents need it? It is your electronic signature. So mom and dad, it's your electronic signature. Student, it's your electronic signature. So that's why you both have to have it. And again, make sure it is separate emails that you're using for that.
Right.
All right, moving forward, make sure I'm not missing anything, guys. All right, does this open the, so it says, thanks for the comment about submitting a new FAFSA each year. Does this open possibility for new aid offers if the parent's income declines? So if there's a difference in income, will it change how much the student is awarded?
Yes, and what you need to do is contact the individual schools and ask them what the process is. Generally, the students need to be determined eligibility based on what they have right now. And then we have what we call extenuating circumstance. Life happened, and I got, I think I've never had more requests for this in the 2020. Everybody, there's an issue. And sometimes we can we're authorized to make some changes if we can, if we have documents to support. COVID was the reason why I lost my job in 2019. I made big money, but now I don't make so much now, but definitely.
All right, so kind of to recap that, especially in today's circumstances, guys, the biggest thing is making sure that if there was an extenuating circumstance, especially with COVID, you can reach out to your institution's financial aid office and explain that to them, kind of what's going on. And also you do need to submit your FAFSA every year. So Ms. Lewis, once they submit a FAFSA for the next year, could that can change what they would be offered the next year, correct? If there was a big financial difference?
Okay, so the new year that they're doing for is for 21-20, 21-22. We're going to put 2019. So now this is 2020. If something happened in 2019, because you submitted your taxes, I made $2 million and now I only make $1, then you submit that information and tell us what happened. Did you lose your job? You have to have supporting documents. When we get to 22-23, it'll be looking at 2020 tax information. Oftentimes, people will try to submit and tell us, the 2020 taxes still have to follow the rules of what the Department of Ed wants. Then once it's complete, then we go back and say, okay, tell me what's happening to you right now. And then we'll take a look at it. Or the school will have forms for you to complete.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Next question is, for divorced parents, shared custody, do both parents fill out the FAFSA? And Ms. Lewis, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that it's whichever parent the student is with the most, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Whoever has over 50% of the care for that student has to complete the FAFSA. Okay, if that parent says, well, we have 50-50, he has 50%, he has 50%. Okay, and then the next thing is, okay, who bought the most clothes? Who fed them the most? Then if the mom or the parent 1 or parent 2, then that's the parent who has to complete the FAFSA application. So 50-50 or who does more?
All right, guys. So again, just in case some of that cut out, it is 50-50 or who does more. So again, she gave the example of it might be 50-50, but mama buys more clothes, then it would be mama's FAFSA. Then it would be mama's tax information that would go on the FAFSA, but only one parent fills it out. All right, it looks like that is it for our questions as of right now. That's all I see. Any closing comments, or go ahead and if you have one last question, we have a minute or two that we can put that on there. All right, I don't see anything else.
And thanks again, everyone, for your patience.
Thank
It's
you.
kind of like we're learning as we're going by, as we're away from school and with the whole technology. But we wanted to make sure that we get the information out there and we get your questions answered. So as much as we can, we want to provide resources for you. There is another excellent opportunity for families this weekend, a Cash for College event. They're hosted each year. This Saturday, there's going to be one at 9 a.m. hosted by the Financial Aid Office at Mount SAC. Again, it's not for students who are attending Mount SAC, it's open for everyone. They will be doing a FAFSA presentation as well as having breakout rooms where they will answer individual questions while you have your FAFSA open with you as well. So that's another additional resource there. Make sure you are contacting the financial aid department at the schools you might be applying to if you have questions there as well. So again, we apologize for the technical issues that we might have had. These are excellent questions. Thanks, Tamara. I know it was always difficult and to be there with all of that, handle that like a champ and answering those questions for our students. Again, make sure you take advantage of the Cash for College if you have additional questions. The link to that event is on the CHS website. You will need to register for that event. So if you go into the CHS website, the registration is there. And that's this Saturday at 9 a.m. And they will be holding those events throughout the year as well if you're unable to make this Saturday as well. But the money's out there, the aid is out there, and the resource to help you out with completing the FAFSA and answering your questions is out there as well. Again, thank you. And we apologize for the technical difficulties that we had tonight.
Mr. Anderson, this is Matt with the University of Laverne. Would it be helpful if Tammy were to leave her email for any parents that may have had questions that weren't answered or needed additional help?
I think that would be extremely helpful.
Okay.
If she's able to do that as well.
Yeah, she put it in our chat, but I think we're gonna try and have somebody put it on the questions in the live, on the YouTube as well, because I don't think anybody else can see the chat.
Okay.
So I think it's just the four of us.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. Sounds like a plan.
If she's willing, we can provide personal cell phone number. Only kidding.
And I'm learning how to sign language. No.